Let's go! Let's go! Yeah!
Welcome to USDtv Sports. I'm Josh Krakoff.
I'm Bethany Mock.
You know, history will be made here in the 2016 World Series. The Indians have not been the World Series champions in 68 years. The Cubs even longer at 108 years. But a big part of the Cubs season and their World Series run so far has been third baseman Kris Bryant, a graduate here of USD.
Yeah, it seems like just yesterday, Kris Bryant was on the field with the Toreros and Coach Hill. 2013, he was even a key asset to their team in taking the West Coast Conference Championship. So it's a pleasure to see him again on the field, this time competing for that World Series championship.
Of course, the Toreros have their back and have the back of their alum, Kris Bryant, playing in the World Series. So we're very excited to see that.
Have you heard? USD's women's volleyball is currently ranked number 1 in the West Coast Conference and number 5 in the AVCA rankings. Toreros had 2 victories last week with a 3-1 win over the LMU Lions and a 3-1 win over the Pepperdine Waves. Congratulations to our volleyball team.
On Friday, women's soccer suffered a 2-1 loss against the BYU Cougars.
Football continued on with their winning streak this season. The Toreros took a 49-10 victory against Valparaiso.
USD football faced Valparaiso on Saturday, October 22nd at Torero Stadium. Toreros took another W, claiming their 5th consecutive win. The Toreros are currently ranked number 1 in the Pioneer Football League and are expected to take home the trophy this season. Quickly into the first quarter, the Valparaiso Crusaders scored a field goal, making the initial score 0-3. This did not deter the Toreros, though, as Jonah Hodges immediately responded with a touchdown. With only 2 minutes and 8 seconds left in the first quarter, Jamal Agnew scored again for the Toreros, closing out the quarter with a 14-3 lead. In the second quarter, Justin Priest and Jacob Arnell entered the end zone after receiving the ball from Anthony Lawrence. The score at the end of the first half was 28-3 Toreros. Coming back for the second half, Lawrence continued his streak, tossing 3 more touchdowns. Brian Riley tacked up 14 points to the board and Armstrong an additional 7. Toreros crushed the Crusaders, ending the game with a 49-10 score. This win gives the Torero a 5-0 PFL record for the season.
Football will return home on November 5th, playing against the Universidad de las Americas Puebla at 4 p.m. in Torero Stadium.
The San Diego Chargers picked up their first win on the road this season as they outlasted Matt Ryan and the Atlanta Falcons in an overtime thriller Sunday afternoon, 33-30. Despite trailing by 10 points late in the fourth quarter, the team refused to call it quits, tying the game at 30 apiece on a Josh Lambo field goal with 18 seconds to play. Now, in the overtime period, the Charger defense came up with a huge stop when the Falcons elected not to punt on 4th down and 1, which set up a game-winning 42-yard field goal from Lambo to clinch the victory. The offense was paced by second-year running back Melvin Gordon, who racked up 121 total yards and a career-high 3 touchdowns. The win improves the Chargers to 3-4 on the season, but they still sit in last place in a tough AFC West division. There's still a whole lot of football to be played this season, so who knows? Anything is possible.
After an away game in Denver, Colorado, the Chargers will return home to face the Titans at Qualcomm Stadium on Sunday, November 6th at 1:25 p.m.
Men's crew made history in the head of the Charles Regatta in Boston, Massachusetts last weekend. The men's 4 of oarsmen Nick Bea, Nick Watson, Owen Chase, Connor Olson, and coxswain Will Graff were in USD's boat. We have a couple guys here in the studio today to talk about that experience. Guys, it's great to have you here, first of all. First things first, congratulations on your race.
Thanks. Thank you.
Obviously, you're making history here at USD. You're placing 3rd overall, and you took the first medal from the Charles in program history. So has that sunk in for you guys yet?
I mean, it's kind of unreal. We don't really know how. It's just been a very long time that this program's been in existence. So I've only been here for 2 years. So it's just kind of weird to get a medal and then say that you've made history. It's just kind of hard to understand, you know.
It's kind of like slowly sinking in over the past few days. I've been to the race a few times, so it's just kind of really cool to do that well. We are really excited for it.
Cool.
Hope to see the season continue the same way.
Right. And obviously it goes without saying that there's a lot of mental, physical preparation that goes into each and every one of those races. So kind of walk us through like how you prepared like for this race in particular.
So for me, the coxswain, there's a lot of turns, and I'm the one that steers the boat. So I had to kind of get all of that down and plan out when we would make moves to try to pass boats. And a lot of it is just kind of in the moment for that race because there's so many boats. But just planning out every situation that could have happened was pretty much what I had to do.
And matching up with the other guys and just giving it your all every single day at practice, and then hopefully it pays out, which it did on the course.
Yeah. So obviously the conditions out there are pretty tough as well. Wind speeds hitting 22 miles per hour. Did that affect your game plan at all?
It was pretty crazy, mostly at the start. We were just kind of waiting around for a lot, and we were in the back of the packet to start. So we had to kind of just stay off to the side and make sure we were like staying warm, staying ready, and I think that was a lot of the problem with it. And then during the race, once we kind of got into it, it calmed down a lot more, but we had to adjust for the winds, and because there's so many turns, we would face against the wind in different ways. So we'd have to adjust for it coming off of port, starboard, bow, and whatnot.
Right.
And it was a different feeling from what we're used to rowing. We're used to rowing on Mission Bay here in San Diego, and it's not that windy. So when we're rowing in the wind that's 22 miles an hour, 25 miles an hour, it's just hard on different muscles. And you could see in some of the photos they took of us, I was just dying. It was just hard,
Is a lot of the problem.
Cool. So finally, definitely being able to earn that bid into the 2017 race next year, and you guys are still going to be around next year. So what does that kind of mean to you to be racing next year in the 2017?
Well, we don't know if we're going to be in the lineup next year, but I definitely am going to try my hardest because it was just such a blast being there with the guys and just bonding with Will and the other men. And just being able to represent the school is just really an honor, and even being able to medal, that's really cool too. So.
Cool.
Yeah, like Owen said, if we're honored to make the boat again, I think it would be great to just improve on what we did. And having less boats in front of us, because we'll start third next year, having less boats in front of us, I think will really help us when we're trying to pass boats or anything like that. It'll make our race a lot cleaner, I think.
Cool. Well, congrats again to you guys. We have Owen Chase, Will Graff from the men's rowing team. We wish you guys the best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This weekend, both men and women raced in the West Coast Conference Championship right here in San Diego.
Hi, good morning, Toreros. I'm here at the Cross Country Conference Championships, and it's right here down in Mission Bay, San Diego, for the first time ever. I got some interviews with Andrea Hughes and Liam Burke. They're both captains for the team and first place finishers. Let's check it out.
I felt really good about this race. It's a tough course, great spectator course, tough for runners. The weather was great, and that third loop was really rough. But I knew that I had my teammates behind me, and I knew they were gonna need us. And you do it for the team,
I believe in you. Go get him. Go get him.
I felt it went really well. Yeah, I mean, I personally am happy with my performance, and I'm really happy with how the team did. I think we competed well and ran well as a group. Not everybody had their best race, but I think overall we had a really good showing for our team.
Last year up in Washington, it was cold, it was unfamiliar, and I feel like I might not have had my best race that year. But for the team overall this year especially, I feel like we really showed what we can do, even when we were missing some of our teammates, and of course we felt their absence in our race, but everybody who was left really stepped it up. We were there for each other, we encouraged each other, and we just gave it all that we had today.
We've run this course more times than I can remember. Just getting to know the course super well. Running as a pack is really what we're focusing on this year. Feeding off each other's energy, and when you're racing, you see your teammate there. It helps. Gives you an energy boost, makes you want to keep going. So thinking about that, and just focusing on beating a couple teams that we have in our eyesight. So
I'm so proud of how much I've seen this program change. USD cross country it's wonderful.
Overall, the Toreros raced really hard today. The boys came in 9th place and the girls came in 6th, 1 place better than last year at conference. Check them out on November 11th, where they're going to be racing NCAA Western Regionals. Great job today, Toreros.
Congratulations again to our Torero cross country team. There's another busy week in the books for USD athletics. Let's take a look at this week's upcoming games.
Kicking off November, on Tuesday, men's golf will travel to Princeville, Hawaii to participate in the Warrior Princeville Mackay Invitational.
Men's soccer has 2 upcoming matches this week. On Wednesday, men's soccer will face off against Cal State Fullerton at 7 p.m. here in Torero Stadium. And on Sunday, men's soccer will travel to San Francisco for a 4 p.m. match against the Dons.
Women's volleyball is back on the road again. On Thursday, the team will travel to Moraga, California to St. Mary's College. And Saturday, November 5th, volleyball will travel to the University of the Pacific to play the Tigers at 12 p.m.
Beginning on Thursday and continuing throughout the weekend, women's tennis will be playing in back-to-back tournaments, with the first being the SDSU Invitational here in San Diego. The second tournament is the Jack Kramer Invitational in Los Angeles, and the third will be the Thunderbird Invitational in Tempe, Arizona.
On Friday, November 4th, come out and support the women's soccer team as they play Portland at 7 p.m. in Torero Stadium. Don't forget to bring your Torero ID card with you to the box office to snag your free ticket for sporting events.
Saturday, women's swim and dive has a meet at LMU starting at noon.
Softball will be on the road in Long Beach with games against Arizona Western College and Long Beach State this weekend.
If you're unable to make it to the games, remember that you can tune in at WTV.com to stream live from the best seats in the house.
Thanks for tuning in to USD Sports this week. I'm Josh Krakoff.
I'm Bethany Mock. See you next week on USD TV Sports.
Let's go! Let's go!